你也听过，所以没有也没关系。我们上次是听到那个虚云老和尚他发愿，又从普陀山那边到就是五台山去散步一拜。Last time we talked about the Master Xuyun vow to help from the mountain to epic mountain. This上一回我们听到的是他渡过黄河以后，因为铁的没有地方可以住，所以他就在岸边找到一个卖小生意的茅棚里头，就坐在那边等着天亮。他说，And last time the vessel we watched was past the church Chinese second day, and crossing Yangtze River, the Yellow River. Now he couldn't find stay, so he found a hut. And this is more like a ship, and so he stayed there and waiting for the next. 那晚上是很冷，到了天亮以后，他也看到全部是白色的一世界，一方世界，雪下的很and the night was getting pretty cold. And in the morning, he found out that it's become a silver because it's snowed out overnight. 那因为这个雪呢，有差不多有1尺深，所以他们好像在拜了，应该搞不清方向，所以他就坐在那里念佛，等雪融吧。And then he found out that the snow was so heavy, it's about 1 foot thick on the ground. So he couldn't tell which direction to bow to. So he just sat there and tried to recite Amitabha Buddha's name. 这样子过了好几天，他也没有食物吃啊，饥寒交迫，也运行慢慢的So he didn't have any food to eat. So he was hungry and it was cold. He was actually dying. And after 3 days, he became unconscious. 那会有午后的血都会太阳才会流出来，但是已经病的没有办法。So on the 6 days, and on the bed, but he was so sick he couldn't get up. 第二天呢，有一个乞丐来问他，那个公就指着徐老上，他没有办法说话。那这个乞丐呢，煮了黄米粥，让徐老上吃甜。And yes, she but he couldn't speak. And beggar cooked some porridge for Master Xuyun. 这样子他就算救了一命，so he saved by this beggar. 那他恢复以后就又开始拜了。今天我们会开始从这边有简单的一下。So after recover, he start to bow again. And today we will start one watch this. 他也是记得讲一下，他到了一个叫小南海的寺庙去挂单，但是被拒绝挂单，所以他就到城外去露宿在那边。他就是那天晚上就是很痛，出午的时候他就有力气，那他勉强拜。So he couldn't find a place to stay overnight. The roadside outside the city. and he developed a severe stomach ache. On the first day of the new year, he was infected with dysentery, and developed this. He continued on. 到了13的时候，他到那个叫黄沙岭的地方，看到有一个破庙，这破庙这个屋顶都没有，也不能守了，没有办法守，所以他就去写，而且他这个腹泻了一天几十次，所以他根本就没力量起身。And he arrived at the mountain range, and he found the ruin of an ancient temple, and this ancient temple didn't have a roof. And he stayed there, and he was so weak he couldn't walk. And he had a mirror, and dozens of times a day. 因为也都没有人来了，所以他就在那边，我们是等死了。So and there nobody around, so he was waiting and wait for death to come. 那很幸运的就是这个一个乞丐又来了，同一个乞丐的，乞丐里面 and fortunately this beggar appeared again, and the second time. So we'll start watch the video. 那我们从这边就开始看，是吧？是讲课，
Hey everybody, good afternoon to you, good evening to you, good morning. Hope you're all well. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Saturday, April 6th. We're into the heart of Aries. It is Friday, April 5th, California. Hope you're going to listen to more stories about Master Empty Clouds and pilgrimage, because that's what we're going to be doing for the next hour. Let's see here. What have we got? Welcome. Good. Okay, it sounds like we're in business. People can hear. All right. So, 欢迎各位, we're going to begin with our Dharma request. Before the Dharma request, we're going to bow 3 times to Buddha. Let me make sure the original sound is on. It is. Okay. So I'm going to invite you all to join me in bowing to the Buddha. And then Vera is going to read karma. Okay. Here we go. First bow. All right. Vera, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭敬的身体，为此法会集，切众生，请转妙法轮教导我们。如何要挣脱习力苦的速得无生， Will the Sangha with great virtue out of compassion for the sake of desire and all living beings discern the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize no
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One.
Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One.
Namo Sadanto Chedoye Alahari Samyao Samputoshi.
Namo Sadanto Sechedoye Alahudi Samyao Samdoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，8,000,000劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿皆如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in millions of eons. But now we see it, hear it, and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Alrighty, Vera, thank you for the Dharma request all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think it's amazing that I'm here in Australia and of course Vera's in Sao Paulo and everyone around the world gets to join in on the Dharma request thanks to the internet. How about that?
是吧？是说，internet 的朋友是，因为清华的人是从巴西清华，是法师本身他要就其他人呢就协助，只是因为网络的关系的错误。
All right. We want to respectfully acknowledge the Kumbumeri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 我们恭敬地承认，有冈贝语族的孔布马里人是我们寺院所在地，就是在这里，在澳大利亚，传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从没有放弃主权第一民族的原住民致敬。All right. Okay, here we go. The bell sound of the resounds throughout 100,000,000 worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and read all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传三千界内，佛法让万亿国中，共宣法界和平，利益报他们后的。Okay. Here we go. Big drama today. Okay. Make the text nice and big. Here we go. It is 1884, 19th century. Master Xuyun is 45 years old. The year of the Shu reign period of the Qing dynasty. And
1884年，光绪10年，宣老上45岁。
Hsiao Nan Hai Monastery 不寡单 does not accept guest monks. 哎呦，公年45岁， 离弘福寺，是日至府城内，到小南海挂单，竟被拘留宿。其父出城外，宿于路边。哎呀，是夜腹中甚惧。初4日仍拜行，晚发冷病。初5日气恶痢疾，每日仍面请拜，毫无大意。Now,
简单的把这个草看过一次。这是虚云老上45岁的时候，他离开这个寺庙，到了这里头去，想到南海这个寺庙传人，但是被拒绝，就是没有办法在那边留宿，所以他就被出城去了，睡在边里。那天晚上呢，就是那种痛觉，然后还去拜，晚上呢发冷病，隔一天的话，他得了痢疾，每天还是勉强的拜，一点疲倦和难过的一个。
the master was 45 years of age. The night after he left Hongfu Monastery, he asked to spend the evening at Hsiao Nan Hai Monastery, but was refused lodging there. He went back outside the city wall and spent the night on the roadside. During the night, the master developed severe stomach cramps. On the 4th day of the new year, he continued to bow, but in the evening, he began to shiver. On the 5th, he was afflicted with dysentery. In spite of all this difficulty, he forced himself to continue bowing without the slightest laziness. Whew. Yeah. Okay, here he is. Here's the city wall you can see in the background. And what happened was the monastery that he hoped would receive him as a guest monk said, no, we don't take guests. You know?
这个人上你可以看到后面那个是城墙，那他没有地方去啊，就只有长了一棵树，就是在树下，因为那个小孩不让他住宿，光树下。
I can't be too harsh because I have said those words myself, not to monks, but to lay people who have the idea Buddhist monastery means I can live my kung fu fantasies. So they knock on the door at 10 p.m. And say, hi, I'm a Buddhist too. I read a lot of Buddhist books. Can I spend the night?
我自己也有这个经验，曾经拒绝过人家留宿，但是不是拒绝出家人留宿，而是拒绝在家人。有人拒绝，就是一些流浪啊，他们会来晚上10点来敲门，说到这个看到有就说我是可以在寺庙里头住个晚上。
And in a monastery where every bedroom is full of monks, and we're up at 4 a.m. We, live by the precepts. We don't eat meat. We eat once a day. We've tried taking in strangers who drop in. It doesn't work.
这个寺庙里头，通常每个房间都是有出家人住的。我们也每天早上4点钟要起来就早课，一天就吃，就是吃素的，所以如果人来住的话是行不通的。
And the sad part is, the next day you have to throw people out. If they're freeloaders, and when people show up unannounced, uninvited, and assuming that because it's Buddhist, it must be free and easy, we've had to say, I'm sorry, we don't take over guests. So
就是即使当晚让他们住的话，第二天还是要请他们走路的，所以这件很困难的事情。在所以他们有人就是以为说佛教徒嘛，这个是挂单的，就是事实上是不可信的。
Whatever the situation at Hsiao Nan Hai, this monastery, I can sort of sympathize. It might have been because the abbot there was sick. It might have been because the abbot there went away for New Year's back to Chang'an or Xi'an or wherever he went, and the young monks wouldn't dare take in a senior monastic without checking with Shifu, and Shifu wasn't available, so they said no.
有可能就是因为那寺庙里头膨胀生病或者不在，出外去了。这些比较年轻的出家人都没有办法做决定，因为方丈不在，也没有办法问方丈，所以只好拒绝，就挂在。
Right? You can think of many circumstances where even a distinguished elder Sangha like Master Empty Cloud shows up out your door in the snow, that you would say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't let you in. So we don't want to assume immediately that Hsiao Nan Hai was just, selfish or evil or bad or whatever.
你可以想到可能还有其他的理由，为什么有什么原因？所以我们不要马上就说认为说这个小男孩的寺庙是有非常不友善的，对，而且有可能是不正法的，不是正法的道场。
Because look at what happened. The results of their not letting this senior monastic in the door was he went back outside and by the side of the road slept in the snow.
因为他们拒绝认学老和尚留宿的结果呢，那个老和尚必须要住在路边过夜，天很冷。
And got sick. So the story is both terse and also revealing. It doesn't tell you much, but you can fill in the gaps, right? 事业福同生欲烈 During
本身看起来是很简洁，那就是里头有很多东西在那边，那么一些我们就要自己把这个空格把它填上去，没有的填上去。宣老上的当天晚上就病了。
the night, the master developed severe stomach cramps. Now he is eating, you know what he's eating. He's probably eating, you guess it's something like rice gruel. He can't carry much. He doesn't have much hot food, if any. He's maybe just eating manho or something, or some, pickled herbs that he can carry.
就觉得好像能够吃的东西很有限，因为可能就吃一些米饭啊，其他东西可以期待着，因为他也没有办法吃什么热食，吃些馒头的之类的东西。
And he's got to bow. That's what he's out there doing. He's bowing along. So his stomach is almost empty most of the
他
time.
是三步一半，所以你可以想象他大部分的时间他肚子都是空的，
And yet exposure to the cold takes him a second time in which. And
而且很冷，还有因为这样子有病，是第二次发生事情。
it's the story specifies twice that despite this crippling situation, he continued to bow. And at night, he got cold disease.
即使生病了，还是继续派他去 这边讲到晚上发这个病。
Cold disease is when you're probably hypothermia. I suspect it's hypothermia. 恶气急，恶力急。
是吧？是关于这个冷病，就是一个体温太低的人，体温过低。
What that led to was dysentery. So dysentery is a water illness, and what happens when you get dysentery is your body tries hard to reject it. So all fluids, your body expels fluids, meaning that you have diarrhea and all kinds of fluids are being put out of your body vigorously.
痢疾这个病是身体会把里面的所有的液体都排出去，拉肚子的，还有其他的方式，所以身体变成失水状态。
And you can die of dehydration as well as just exhaustion because you have to run to the bathroom over and over and over. The actual
失水严重的话，有可能因为这样子而死，因为是你要一天到晚要跑洗手间、厕所了，那你体力也会消耗。
actual cure for dysentery is not complex. It's kind of like, I don't know, when people had the runs, diarrhea the last time. But often the doctor will tell you, just wait it out, drink clean water and wait it out. It will correct itself.
这个要治疗痢疾并不是那么困难的事情。像我们一般的拉肚子的话，医生会告诉我们说，你就等等，不要再吃东西，然后身体自然会复原，不用再喝不干净的水。
Well, if it's dysentery, you have to intervene with, you have to replace all of the contents of the intestines and the stomach because the purging is so violent and so total.
痢疾病呢，你必须还要补充电解质，身体血液里面主要是氯化钠、盐巴，因为你身体把很彻底，所以你是光喝水是不够的，你还要再加上电解质，要不然的话身体也受不了。
So if you really get dysentery and if you don't have clutter and electrolyte salts and the basics that you need to keep your system running, you can die in a few days.
如果你患的痢疾是没有干净的水，也没有电解质，像盐巴之类的话，过了几天，你很可能就因为这样子会生的。
Because you simply exhaust yourself, just purge everything that you need. So that's what happened to our monk. Our hero has dysentery.
就是发生在虚老和尚身上，因为他在外头了，也没有盐巴，也没有干净的水，所以。
And yet, look at this tough guy. What does he do? Keeps on bowing. What would you expect Master Empty Cloud to do? That's been his style, which is, my vows carry me through everything. My body is the last thing I worry about.
虚好像他是为这疾病所干扰，所以继续拜，一点的确一点的偷懒的意思都没有。然后那就是他的愿是怎么强，就是他的愿可以胜过一些东西，实际的话，关系。
My vows are important. What happens to me physically is going to happen. That's my karma. But my vows keep me single-mindedly moving forward. That's his job. So
愿就是让他一心的继续拜下去，这个身体是他的，不管这些了。
So 每日嚷面强拜毫无大意。In spite of all this difficulty, force yourself to continue bowing. That's less laziness. Not lazy. He's not lazy. He's freezing. He's hungry. He's been refused lodging. He's exposed to the elements on a snowy night. Now he's got dysentery. He continues to bow.
师法师提到这个待解释是懒惰的意思，而是那个学老为什么怎么可能懒惰？为什么继续办下去？在这个环境下下雪了，又没有东西吃。
They made him tough with Master Empty Cloud. 顺逆境界皆尽尽，苦乐并集仍拜相，以念真诚胜莫佑，万缘放下自贺当。
这个是上人写的七种顺利境界精进，这个大家可以了解。苦乐并集，仍然继续拜下去。一念真诚胜莫佑，这个胜莫佑是很重要的。真诚的话，指的是圣人，默默中在保佑的。万缘放下，所有事情都放下来了，责任当自己承担。
In favorable or obstructing situations, he always progressed with vigor. Whether happy, sad, well, or sick, he continued to make prostrations. With even one truly sincere thought, you gain the aid of sages. And when you let go of the myriad states, you become totally self-reliant. That's a typo there. So you become totally self-reliant. Okay, that last line, 万缘放下, that's often the thing you say when somebody's about to die. Someone's about to go off to rebirth. 万缘放下. You put down everything. In this case, he's still alive, but barely. And the illustration really tells a story, right? Look at that.
这个万缘放下是法怎么解释说，这个一般是对即将往生的人跟他讲，就是把所有东西都放下来，并不一定是对要往生的人。We should interpret this as this phrase is usually showing the dying, but actually this not necessary to be just talking to the dying, unless you can talk to anyone.
The ghosty tree, wind blowing the leaves over his head while he's huddling and shivering outside without any shelter whatsoever. Now, the last time he got stuck in a blizzard, he had a lean-to. He had two sides of roofless building, so he could lean into the wall, protected from the wind from one or two directions. Here, into.
看看这个图这边，它就是一个老树啊，风很大，树叶都没起来。这个上一次是找到一个像是一个毛毛的一样的地方，所以它至少有2面墙。现在一面墙都没有。
That tree is not providing any shelter at all. But Shifu's poem suggests that Sheng Mo Yo, the sages silently, invisibly, are the single thought of sincerity, and that's what our monk is composed of. It's absolute Zhencheng, totally sincere. Doesn't matter, die, fine, living, that's fine, I'm going to keep bowing. Sheng Mo Yo, sages silently aid. So Shifu is
这个第3句一念真诚是莫佑， 学老和尚是完全的100%的真正的那个诚心，所以呢，有圣人在默默在保佑他是
giving us the clue for what happens next.
接受我们是上人讲的，他就是用这句话来给我们一个提示，说接下来会发生什么事情。
All right, so far so good. Moving on. Oh my. 黄沙灵谷妙重病，妙重病 or 重病 yeah. 黄沙灵谷妙重病 stricken illness at an ancient temple on Huang Sha Ling mountain.
下一节它这个题目叫黄沙岭古庙重病，是不是刚刚念的有点问题？在黄沙岭这边有个古庙，它这个重病。So this should read Huang Sha Ling. This is the mountain-rich temple, and was sick seriously.
Continuing, same year, same state. Are we ready? 至3日，抵黄沙岭，顶破庙无遮蔽，已不能行。歇下不数十次，启动武力，过往古人名目待毙而已，然无悔念也。由此可见，公一生之自强不息精神，难行能行，愿力坚固。
到了是残日的时候，他到达这个黄沙岭，那看到一个破庙，破了呢，这个屋顶都没有屋顶了，破了，没有什么东西可以遮蔽，但是他已经没办法在这边停下来，没有吃任何东西，每天呢大做这几十次。没有办法起身，没有办法行动，而且来往又没有人，所以呢只好闭着眼睛仁慈了。但是他没有一点后悔的意思，念头没有后悔，说为什么要来拜神不应拜？从这里可以看到，这学老和尚一生自强不息的精神，难行还行，愿力坚固。
The master reached Huang Sha Ling, Yellow Sand Peak, on the 13th. He found the ruins of an ancient temple, which offered no shelter because the roof was broken. Since he could no longer walk, the master stopped here. He could no longer eat, and he experienced severe diarrhea. Because he had no more strength to get up and leave that deserted area, the master closed his eyes and waited for death to come. He regretted none of his past actions. It was plain that throughout his life, he always tried his best. He was able to accomplish difficult tasks because his vows were solid and firm. All right, let's look at some of the language that Shifu chose for this. It's 不进饮食, he didn't or drink. 日 by day, daily. 泻数十次, he had diarrhea multiples of 10 times, like dozens of times, having to walk over to wherever he made his toilet area and watch the fluids out. 启动无力, and so he had no strength whatsoever. 国王人, because he was in this remote place, a broken down temple with no roof, 名目待毙而已. All he could do was close his eyes and wait to die. However, he had 无悔念了, he had no regrets. 由此可见 this is everything taken into consideration. 公益上自强. This, his lifelong motto of 自强不息精神. Anybody who was at Gold Mountain in the early years heard Shifu say regularly, try your best. Just try your best. The Chinese translation for that is 自强不息. Urge yourself on without rest. Try your best. 精神. With that energetic motto, 难行能行. The things that are really hard to do, he was able to do. 愿力坚固. His vows were solid.
大家听过很多上人之前常常会让大家能够try your best，就是我们一般应该是说尽力而为，但是释法师认为的自强不息是在翻译的try your best，就并不是意义上。So this phrase here, 自强不息, I don't think it really means, and the master said, try your best. It doesn't really mean, it's more like a 尽力而为 try your best. 自强不息 is like the drive, and non-stop, just keep going.
Now, these are Shifu's words. He selected this episode to illustrate with the text, and then he had the artist draw the illustration, and then Shifu wrote the verse. We know that our teacher was one who had solid vows. His Shifu's 18 vows, 18大愿, are one of the reasons that spiritual beings, including dragons, foxes, immortals, all said they got close to Shifu because of his vows.
上人本身愿力也是能坚固的18大愿，很多众生像龙啊、就是狐狸精啊这些东西，他们会来归成人，就是因为人的18大愿的起。
His vows were the reason that they picked him up to take with, etc. So Shifu knows of what he speaks when he praises Master Empty Cloud's solid, firm vows. Nan xing, nun xing. Things that other people were unable to do, he was able to do because of those vows. So, is this the end? Look, there he is, bowed up this far, 3 steps, 1 bow, 3 steps, 1 bow. Got to this broken down temple. You can see the illustration really does a great job of conveying the sense of remote, alone, broken.
从土里出来，这个在外面层壁，然后就在很偏远的地方，这个人有病，那是不是就是就这样子就这辈子就结束了呢？
The wall, the brick wall, is just not much left. And he's got his sleeve over his eyes. Not even a hat. Did he really bow without a hat? My goodness.
好像没有帽子，就是真的拜的时候不知道什么。
Yeah. Not much left except his spirit. Spirit is as strong as it was the first day he set out on his pilgrimage.
没有留下来，只有他的精神比现在的精神和第一天开始拜的时候的精神是一样强。
That's the thing that carried him through every single time was Master Empty Cloud's, you could say, 宗旨, his resolve, his the conditions that he gave himself were what carried him forward.
他这个坚强的决心是能度过关灵魂的难关。
So, interestingly, it's that 精神 his 自降不起 that means to this day. The reason why 100 years after, multiple 100 years later, we're looking into his life is because of that spirit. The details of his life are certainly extraordinary, right? 120 years old.
自强不息精神让我们在100年以后还看他的实际。那么他的结婚呢，做到后来20岁。
His 10 challenges and 36 disasters and that they talk about. All of those things were overcome by his indomitable spirit.
这个摆脱不了的人，不克服所有的困难灾难。
带病带香真强，卧薪尝胆五岳王，明目带中真放下，全无悔意坦荡荡。Although he was sick, he forced himself to continue making prostrations. He lay down on the straw to bile like the king of Yue. Closing his eyes, he waited for death, having truly put it all down. With no regrets for the vows he has made, his heart was composed and calm. There you go.
寄送稍微过一下，带病，爱想是勉强，但是呢，生病了还继续散步一拜是很勉强的事情。卧薪尝胆，无往能够现，卧薪尝胆是，等于是虚老上也类似这样子，明目带中真放下，把眼睛闭起来。在死亡来，真的都放下，放眼望着，全为坦荡荡，他一点悔都没，心里很坦荡荡。
Yeah, and you think who these days? I'm sure there are people right this minute with firm resolve and great vows. And it's not the case that we can only look to the past to find people like this. But when we find heroes of the human experience on the planet, people like this who stick out, given the lifetime of planet Earth, humans have been here for a number of seconds of the last minute.
相信现在也有人是像虚云老上这么样的第一志这么大的决心。我们如果看这个地球的寿命，是出现在很短的时间，渐渐的出现。
If of the planet Earth was a 12-hour clock, the humans emerged not just at the last hour from 11 to 12, not just the last 5 minutes from 11 to 12, but number of seconds of the last minute.
如果把地球的寿命，看成是12小时的话，人类出现不是在最后1个小时，从11点出现，也不是在后5出现，而是在最后几秒钟，人类才在地球上出现。
Humans have been, and there's ample signs that we will pass on. People are saying that this is now 2024, that
很多证据说是这个人类 也会晓得。
2030 we'll see the effects of the rising of the temperature beyond the 1 degree that the Rio and the Paris and the where else in Scotland they had various climate summits. The whole
大家还有一点就是2030年的时候，这个温度升高超过1度，那时候这个是在伦敦，在巴西的约热那鲁的苏格兰，专家们开会的结论都是这样。
He said 1.3 degrees. Any higher than that, and the polar ice caps will start to melt, will continue to melt and flood the lowlands.
那地球的温度如果升高1.3度，那这个南北极的冰块都会融化掉，融化掉的话，地球其他地方都会淹的。
And it'll be too late at that point. So 6 years, and they said the solution was to cut our carbon emissions by half.
因为到2030年就是要6年的时间，能够要变这个大灾呢，就是要把我们用的这个碳，就是二氧化碳这个使用要减少1半。
That if we could do that, if we could cut carbon emissions 50% in the Rio climate summit was 1992, and they were saying those things back then. So 2030 is said to be the time when, if we don't find a way to reverse at least half of the global warming, that it will be irreversible.
到2030年，如果我们没有办法这个地球软化的程度把它会转过来的话，大概就是人类大概就这样子会没有这个大灾难。
So humanity's time on this planet may be just a spark, and gone. And in that, amid those
人类在地球上生存的时间，可能就像一个火星一样那么短的时间。
humans, we who have been here, here is someone to admire. Here is someone who lived not for physical comfort, to say the very, very least, but someone who lived to glorify kindness, repaying parents' kindness, revering the Dharma, and putting one's life on the line for something he truly believed in.
这个这么短，人类生存在地球的时间里头，类似像虚老和尚这样的，是值得我们敬仰的。是能够牺牲所有的物质方面的享受，主要争取的是，回报父母的恩，能够尊重老法，方面是物质享受一点都不出来。
His heart, his mind, his body are unified in this wish to endure a little bit of suffering on behalf of his mother, who underwent extreme suffering. When she gave birth to him, she died.
所以心理就是他要回报他母亲的母亲，在他出生以后没有就往生。
And he didn't forget that. So, how about that? Okay, we got one more to go. Ho ho ho. 并为文系来 As illness grows serious, Wenji returns. Oh boy. Take a look. 15日病危，深夜见席墙下，有人燃火，以为匪类糟糕，是土匪。喜视之，乃闻计又来，喜极。忽问先生，以之火照曰：“大师父，你怎么还在这里？”公告已经过，闻其坐，公身便安慰，以杯水令饮，身心清净。
到15日的时候，病危，命危险。半夜有人听到是一个墙下人生火，他以为是这个土匪的。仔细一看，文吉，你记得文吉就是上次来做的起来的名字文吉，看到文吉又来了，所以非常非常高兴，那就喊文先生，这个你呢拿着火呢来照这个去老师，因为夜看不清楚，他就看到这群老上，就听到这大师傅怎么还在这里？公嘛，就是去老上告诉他经过情形，告以情，这不是公告，公告以后，问题就坐在那个去老师的身边，他会给那个一喝下去以后，直接就清净。
By the 15th, the master was gravely ill, but then he saw someone kindling a fire by the western wall of the ruins. He assumed it was an outlaw. Oh no, robbers. What do I have to steal? Upon scrutiny, he realized Wenji the beggar had returned. What? The master, overjoyed to see him, called out, "Mr. Wenji, Mr. Wenji." Wenji held up a burning stick and said, "Master, how come you're here? Funny to meet you. What a coincidence." The master lay head. Wenji sat at the master's side, making him comfortable, and had him drink a cup of water. The master then felt pure in body and clear in mind. Don't you wonder what was in that cup of water? Oh my, Wenji. He's just patrols out there in these remote, broken down temples looking for monks to save.
那文吉是不是就没事干，在这种很荒凉的地方，在那边巡视，来找这个和尚，能够来救这个和尚。
Of course, we know later it's Manjushri Bodhisattva.
我们晓得后来就知道的是这个文吉就是文殊师利菩萨。
Shifu gave us the clue. He said, when you are sincere to the extreme, 真诚圣莫有, right? When even one truly sincere thought arises, you gain.
上面在前面就给我们的暗示，一念真诚是莫有。
Check it out. Here's the sage. So there he was, right at the brink of death for a second time. And he notices over there on the side of the wall, somebody's got a fire going. And his first thought is, who else is out here? Who else would be crazy enough? Shizhi, oh, it's Wenji the beggar who's here again. Notice, I like this, terse. You say terse? Shiji, happiness to the extreme. Extreme happiness. Who shouted, Wen Zhenzhang, Mr. Wen. So Wenji picks up a brand burning, comes over. Oh, 老师傅你怎么还在这里? stuff. Well, how curious that we would meet each other yet again in this broken down temple ruin in the midst of a snowstorm. Nice to see you. How you doing? What's up? Gong Gao Yi Jing. So Master Empty Cloud Gong told him everything he had been through, and Wenji sat beside him and healed him from a fatal illness with a cup of water. 一杯水，冷饮，令饮，身心清净。Take this. Exactly what a sufferer of dysentery needs out in a frozen landscape under the moon. So, my goodness, how come you're here? So, Master Empty Cloud could easily say, Mr. Wenji, how come you're here? But
但是熏老上最需要的，净水。文集这个乞丐他问那个熏老是说你怎么在这里？是吧？说这个熏老上也那个
that he didn't ask. So there they are. Beautiful illustration. This our artist, whoever he was, has done a great job giving us these little visual vignettes of the trials and tribulations of a man on a mission, a monk on a mission, Master Empty Cloud.
国家发人嘛，
其人天相与不虚，并为代臂见闻习，汇聚照破千生障，法水洗除万界迷。
既然天下无虚，待会儿师傅怎么解释这个既然天下？不过他的解释恐怕不是正确，英文翻译也不太正确。应该才是不是正确，并为代理见闻习，并很严重，就是真等的人死讲起，会去照破千生的去死的活啊。照破千生的障，这个障也是什么意思？法水洗除万界，法水就是那杯水洗除万。
吉人 the auspicious person. Now, one Ji is the Ji, lucky. Think about one Shu Shili Pusa, Miao Ji Xiang Pusa, wondrously lucky Bodhisattva. Jiren, the lucky one. Tian Xiang, with celestial bearing. We had to discuss how to translate this. Deva's appearance, Deva's hallmarks. So, with his celestial bearing, he's wearing beggar's clothes. He is not a beggar. Yu bu shu, yi bu shu. The words he says are not in vain. So when Manjushri speaks, you listen.
既然天象字面上讲的这个是很极强的人，他有像天人一样的相貌，但是实际上这并不是也这么解释，就是说这个机人是说指的是好人，这个是相助的意思，天人的好，能自助人天的意思，是天或者好人的意思。语不虚指的是说这句话，这个词是不是假的，是真的这样。这个偏向是没有话讲的没有错。那这个英文的翻译就是也有它和司法师解释的差不多，而且它就是那个文集，它有名的记载，这个文集呢，它像个乞丐一样，或者天然的相貌，那他讲的话呢，不会是假的，这个和我们真的了解意思会差。This actually literally means auspicious person. as the bearing of the deva. If you look at Pictorial, it doesn't mean that Xi is talking about a person. The parent will help Xia here doesn't mean bearing or countenance. Means the parent will help those the good people. Yu Shi means that this phrase is not false, it's true, it's always happens. So this is quite different from the English translation.
病危待毙 illness, danger, waiting to die. Sees sees the beggar, 文集. 汇聚. Now, this is two beautiful lines where Master Hua makes Dharma analogies of the Dharmas of the mundane world. 汇聚, wisdom torch. It's a stick of burning wood, but the poet turns it into a wisdom torch, breaks apart 1,000 rebirths obstacles. And the cup of water is Dharma water, which washes clean 10,000 eons of confusion. If anybody needs to know, this is a couplet. This is a perfect matching couplet. The auspicious person with celestial bearing never speaks a word, gravely waiting for death, the master saw Wenji. The torch of wisdom shines through obstructions, gained over thousands of lives. As the water of Dharma cleanses away confusion from a myriad eons. Okay, take a look here. So, Hui Ju, wisdom torch, matches Fa Shui, Dharma water. Perfect.
最后这两句是一个是相对联，小时候是绝对，但是汇聚的对话水。
照破 on breaks apart. 洗除 washes away, gets rid of. Perfect match. 这个是绝对，这个对联是绝对。千 thousand, one, 10,000. 生 birth, rebirth, 劫 eon, 障 obstacles, 迷 confusion. 这个对联是绝对 perfect. This is a perfect matching couplet. 会以照破千生障，法水洗出万劫迷。
法师认为这个对联是绝对，是最好的对联。我们讲的汇聚是对化水，照破对洗除，天生对万劫，障对迷。
Shifu was the best at matching couples.
上是这些对联的。
English is the same flavor, but it's the same with the Chinese. The torch of wisdom, the water of Dharma, shines through obstructions, cleanses away confusion, gained over thousands of lives from a myriad eon. Right? Yes, yes, yes. That's a couplet. That's a duilin. Okay. He's kicked out of Hsiao Nan Hai. They wouldn't let him stay, whatever reason. Goes back outside the city gates to find a convenient tree to sit down under and catch berry because of the water he drank, put it in his guts.
是吧？回到前面的章节讲到这个，因为小男孩不让他寺庙不让他，所以他只好到城外去树下，没人的力气。
And he keeps on bowing, but less. Right? He bows until he can't move because he's running to empty his bowels multiple times a day. Doesn't take long for you to lose energy. What happens?
这个这么厉害的补血的话，不需要长时间，很快的就完全都没有体力。
And he decides that I'm going to die here, so let it be, let it be, he Feng Sha Ling, he sets it all down.
那就决定说，那就这样子，就这样子没问题，所以就放下一切。
There may be an answer. Let it be. So, if you're a pilgrim out in rural China, you keep running into these broken monasteries. This is twice now. I guess the previous one wasn't necessarily a monastery, but this is an ancient temple. Because China, it wasn't always Buddhist. A monastery could be a Taoist place. It could be like Tudigong, the earth god. It could be an ancestral temple, whatever.
我这些古庙不一定都是佛教寺庙，有可能是其他的庙宇，还有可能是像土地公，我不晓确定是那样子。
No matter who the shen there was, it was broken, no longer receiving offerings. And in the nick of time, just when he was needed, this beggar, this guy showed up again twice. And here he's able to start a fire and come up with medicine water, medical drink to cure the
这个
dysentery.
最危急的时候，那个乞丐他突然还能够生火，还有那个净水，能够让水道上的力气。
And Wenji is back. Okay. Wenji was going the other way. He was heading to Beijing, and they just crossed paths the last time. But Master Empty Cloud continued towards Wutai He, and Wenji was there. So you know that this Bodhisattva has 就是手眼通天, right? 方便无断. He's got expedient skills, and his hands and eyes reach through to the heavens.
上次他们碰面的时候，那个文吉他讲说他是要到长安去，那现在呢，那个玄老上还是继续要拜我的，结果又碰到了文吉，说是从长安回来，从这里可以看到这个文吉，这菩萨他有是老师讲的手眼天不可思议的能力。
All right. Okay. Now I have a story I'd like to share.
如果是接下来他是要分享。
I have two stories I can relate. One was when Marty, Bhikshu Heng Chao, and I were bowing along, 3 steps on bow, Golden Gate Bridge, and crossed Highway 101, and we were now, we crossed over to the west at Gap there at Stinson Beach, over to find Highway 1. Stinson Beach goes up, before you get to the coast, you have to go through the Mill Valley, that area, and this is where a lot of Buddhist groups make their headquarters. And very kind Buddhist groups picked us up as we traveled and came out to make offerings. And
是保持他明朝，那时候在三会拜的时候，现在已经拜了过了金门大桥。那在这边附近有很多佛教的团体在那边当做他们的headquarter， 他们的总部是其中一个团体呢非常的慈悲，他们还把那个正法师朝法师去他们的食物。
And invited us in, but we had a policy where we didn't go inside. We stayed outside. So after receiving food one day, I got the runs. I wouldn't say it was dysentery, but it was diarrhea.
是他们供养的食物以后，是法师他就开始拉肚子，不是痢疾，但是拉肚子没有状。
And I had to interrupt my bowing about once every hour to go find a bush somewhere, or the back of the car where we had a chamber pot, a portable toilet
每一
pot.
个小的都要上厕所。
And I had to take care of business there. And it was miserable because it was raining. This is February. And the Bay Area in February back then, it was raining.
是
Just like
在2月的时候下雨，而且门是很困难的时候。
every winter the way it's supposed to. Oh, miserable. It lasted a week. And by the end of that week, I didn't have any strength.
这样子到了1个礼拜，在这个最后的时候，都已经没有体力了。
And at one point, we were it was after lunch and I hadn't been able to eat and I was completely empty. Nothing inside left because it had all come out. And it was time to get back out of the car to start bowing for the afternoon.
这一天中午，他们用完午餐，但是把他们出来开始拜了。
And we had reached the top of that ridge before you go down to Stinson Beach, if people know where that is. And Marty looked down. We opened the door of the car where we took our lunch every day. And there underneath our feet was yarrow, Y-A-R-R-O-W. This is a plant known to Chinese medicine. I don't know what Chinese medicine calls it, but it's yarrow. It's the same plant that you use to do the I Ching divination. If you问卦问一算卦。
准备要出来开始拜了，那车门一打开，那下面就看到这个yarrow，是叫做我们一般叫湿草，是一般补花用的草。那这个草呢，对治那个病很有用处。
You do it with stalks, you do it with yarrow stalks. It's that same plant, very silvery green bud on it. It's very pretty. Marty looked down at this yarrow right underneath the door of our car, and he said, I remember somebody telling me that yarrow was good for the stomach. So he picked yarrow and made a tea out of it, and the diarrhea went away.
他们看到这个湿草，这湿草是很鲜艳、很漂亮。马里就是很吵法师，他就说：“哎，我记得有人跟我讲说，这个湿草对这个治肚痛很有效的。”那就采了一些湿草，然后泡成那个茶一样给施法师喝。
And I remember during my bowing, I said, gratitude to yarrow plant Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, whichever being that was manifesting in the plant world to cure my illness. So
我记得在拜的时候，我会感谢那个湿草菩萨摩诃萨，那个确实治了他的病。
he picked some yarrow, boiled it up into a tea, and I drank it, and I felt a change right then. So I completely identify with Master Empty Cloud drinking a cup of water from Wanshu Pusa and recovering. Oh my goodness.
喝了这个湿草的茶以后，马上就好，所以会常能够了解到这个学老上我们喝的这么一杯水，病就好了。
Now that's one story. Second story is even more miraculous.
第二个故事更神奇。
This was earlier than that episode in Marin County. We were down near Pescadero. If people know, it's called the Peninsula. It's just south of San Francisco. And there's a town called Princeton, and Half Moon Bay in that area is just close to Half Moon Bay. And we had found a roadside field to pull off on that wasn't visible from the road. So it was night, we pulled off, and Marty, Hung Chao, was sick. And Marty's illnesses all have to do with fire and fever. He's a fire.
这是发生在之前的事情。他们在之后，很吵法师这回是他病，这病得很严重。那我就把他简单讲一下。那他们在那边有一天晚上，突然下雨天，有个神秘的人出现，走过施法师那里，也没有好像没有看到施法师一样。他打开那个车门呢，对着里面的法师，他躺在那里呻吟呢，讲的不晓得讲一些什么，也就是念个咒文，然后很快的就回过来，被施法师讲说：“你不用担心，他没有问题的，你要多诚心。” So I just because of time I like to because Martin was very sick and he was lying in the car mourning. And this night there's all dark, it was raining, and a person showed up wearing raincoat. As though Revelation, he didn't say anything to Heng Sure. And he went right at the back of the pickup, opened the door and say a few words, probably a mantra to Heng Sure. Then quickly went around and told Revelation, said, You'll be okay, don't worry, be more sincere. 就这样子，这个老法师就好了。第二天，施法师问他说：“你知道谁吗？”他说：“我根本不晓得什么事情。” So Marty immediately, and he didn't know who was there. He didn't even notice something there to help him. So this is a story that the personal experience. 那我们时间也到了，我们就在这边讲来，就像我们 start here, delegate Mary. 愿一生多念佛净土，上报十种恩，下济三途。若有见闻者，悉发菩提心。今生应报身，同生极乐国。报一切诸的 Venerable Master。